I don't know if you saw Selena Gomez's crying. It was funny enough and disingenuous enough that the internet picked it up and turned it into a meme. And just to give you an example of what that looks like, you've probably I'm so sorry. I should get a sound drop of this probably, but if you have, if you, I'm sure you've probably seen this, but just to refresh your memory in case you haven't, this is an example of one of the memes, and this one's kind of dirty, of course. You know, I guess that's my brand, right? But here we go.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
I saw another one that said, when someone overcooks your steak. This one is like this woman complaining about her knees at 30. She's like, my knees are already blown out at 30 years old, which is, to me, a good example of how f***ed up our food system is, because I'm 46 and my knees are fine. So you need to check yourself, lady, if your knees are f***ed up at 30. Anyway, point of me showing that was just to show you the Selena Gomez memes that are going around based on that performative gesture that she did. And I wanted to show you what I thought was the best kind of breakdown of this by Candace Owens here. So here's Candace's take on Selena Gomez crying on Instagram. Very well put.
I'm so sorry.
My Instagram. My life. I'm so sorry. My life is it going?
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But I can't.
I don't know why this happened. It's weird. It's the moment of consciousness that is weird for me. That you're thinking about your family. It tells me you're not really sad, because when you cry and you're actually super upset about something, the last thing you're thinking about is social media. But she's her own producer. She's her own videographer, and she's crying. So I think it's weird, and I think it's funny, and I think it's okay for us to objectively embrace the fact that Selena Gomez crying on Instagram is funny.
It's as funny as Emma Vigeland talking about opposing fascism. It's the same level of cringe, disgusting, performative bullshit. And I wanted to close out with that because, I have always been someone who's on the left. My number one issue to this day is public health care. That's what policy wise, that's my goal. And if you watch my conversation last night with Justin, who's on the right, I asked him point blank about, stuff like, for example, and this is why I love engaging right-wing people in conversation like this. We talked about police, and I was explaining how defund the police is not really about defunding the police. It's about starting an argument in a place, an extreme place, so you actually get something at the end, right? So you start the argument in this extreme place with defund the police, and then you get, some reform to police organizations. Well, when it comes to healthcare, what I've been trying to do is frame the issue in a way that right-wingers kind of understand it. Because if you look at the polling, Republicans are largely on board with public healthcare now too. And so I've said this multiple times, but and I showed the clip of Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan talking about this, but these guys are, technically the right now, I guess. I don't really consider them right-wing, but they're talking about how if we're going, we kind of agree now after the Luigi incident and stuff that we need to provide healthcare for our people. And if we're going to do that, we have to have clear boundaries and definitions of what a citizen is. So, as shaky and as, upsetting to a lot of people as this whole Trump thing is with the immigration and kind of like tamping down a little bit on that, I think in the long run, if you look at it from this perspective, it's going to be good for the working class, which is ultimately what we want, because you look at any market, your labor is being devalued. Labor is devalued by the fact that we have open borders, and it's done intentionally. If you don't think it is, where have you been? These people that run large companies love being able to take advantage of, illegal labor because there's so many benefits to it. First of all, it's cheap. Second of all, you don't have to give them health care. Third of all, if they unionize, you just deport them back to their country. So you have these people by even more of the ball sack than you have an American worker who can unionize and has all these constitutional protections. And so I just want people of my ilk to see this thing for the bigger picture, which is, we at the end of the day, we want policy, not posturing, right? Policy, not posturing. And I'm going to close you out today by showing you this clip of this comedian who kind of sums up what the Democratic Party has become. And I almost think it's gotten so ridiculous. It's almost like conservatives like the Cheneys infiltrated the Democratic Party and turned it into this caricature of itself. The kind of people are like, oh, men can have babies, but like, oh, you don't like science, but also men can have babies, and like, oh, you hate women, but also like, what is a woman? I don't know. Like, guys could be going bathrooms if they have a dress on. It's like that's what the Democrats have become. And this comedian, her name is, for the record, Ali Colbert with a K, not like Stephen Colbert, spelled like Stephen Colbert, but with a K. So Ali's gonna let you know what she thinks about the definition of modern.
I'm liberal, but it's totally embarrassing and unsustainable at this point. Like, it's just, could you imagine a zombie apocalypse in our society? Republicans would be like, let's carpet bomb all the zombies. And the Democrats would just be like, hey, they don't like being called zombies! They prefer to be called the undead! They like the undead! They'd be like, we should put them in a room in case we find a cure, we can inoculate them, bring them back to life! They'd be wearing shirts, the undead are alive.